Have you ever wondered why pirates don't just randomly stumble upon Laugh-Tale? I have an answer for that. Have you ever wondered why there's 4 road poneglyphs when you only need 3 coordinates to triangulate a position? I also have an answer for that. Or what about how Oda will reveal Laugh-Tale's location while simultaneously mind-blowing every reader and having foreshadowing along the way? All of these questions have a very simple answer. The island of Laugh-Tale is located inside the earth because Monkey D. Luffy lives in a hollow planet. That's why Roger said you need to search the whole world. That's why the man who went to Laugh-Tale, Crocus, created an island inside of Laboon, and that's why Oda sneakily hid an underground city on the moon during NL's cover story. Hit the like and subscribe button right now because I promise to show you all of the foreshadowing and concrete evidence concluding why Laugh-Tale is located in the center of the planet. And trust me, it's a lot. I'm coining this idea or theory as Centerpiece, and Centerpiece will be one of the best theory videos you will ever watch. Now to start off, one of the most interesting things about Laugh-Tale is you don't need 4 coordinates to pinpoint a location. This is common in mathematics and even basic navigation. You can triangulate and find a position with 3 coordinates. Now it was always presented like you need 4 road poneglyphs or that they act as 4 coordinates to find the location, and I'm just left wondering like, what's the point? You would only need 3. And it actually gets a lot worse. When I was coming up with this idea and theory, I actually checked on Google to see if other people were saying the same thing, and I only found one post of someone saying something similar. Don Matrix on Reddit made a post with a whole bunch of graphs and images showing how 3 road poneglyphs seems to be the best case scenario to triangulate a position. A 4th coordinate seems unnecessary, and there would be a lot of problems if there was a 4th coordinate because there's a lot of different formations that just wouldn't make any sense. Shout out to Don Matrix for all these graphs and images, it's really helpful, but upon thinking about why you only need 3 coordinates to triangulate a position, I wondered what the 4th coordinate was for, and the answer quickly came to mind: elevation. Throughout the One Piece story, especially in pre-time skip, we were introduced with this concept. We had an island in the sky known as Skypiea, the Sky Islands, and then we were also told that Fishman Island was going to be in the bottom of the ocean towards the core of the earth, funnily enough. Now, seeing how Oda's already played around with elevation in the story, why wouldn't he play around with it now? But why would he not consider elevation when it comes to the island of Laugh-Tale? If Laugh-Tale was at sea level, then it's kind of pointless to have this whole elevation thing. You might as well just make 4 coordinates. But if it was in the sky somewhere or towards the bottom of the ocean, then the depth, the elevation would matter a lot. Now this concept doesn't really cross people's mind because when we think of Laugh-Tale and coordinates, we always think of it as a 2D plane, when, as I said, Oda has played around with elevation. There's sky islands, islands are underwater, the elevation's going to matter. Now if it was at sea level, what would be the point of that? We have to look at this as a sphere, we have to look at this as a planet. So therefore elevation is going to matter when it comes to Laugh-Tale. Another thing that crossed my mind is like, has Oda played around with this idea before? Has he hinted that Laugh-Tale is located inside the earth? And I think he has, at least on 2 separate occasions. The first one is Laboon. Seeing how Crocus is a man who went to Laugh-Tale, he knows where it's at, he knows what the One Piece is, but yet he made an island inside of Laboon is very curious. Yeah, working inside of Laboon could take care of him and make repairs and all that a lot easier, but it seems a little bit unnecessary, especially with the lighthouse. Why would a man who went to Laugh-Tale do that? I think this is Oda's simple way, this is Oda's really secretive way, hinting that Laugh-Tale is going to be located inside of something. The second one that came to mind is actually Nola. Funnily enough, during Skypiea where they find poneglyphs, the Eye of Jaya, all these great things, the bell, we also have Luffy walking around and made his way into Nola. To him, it seemed like a cave and he was finding great treasure and all these items, he was all hyped, but it seems, again, really peculiar. Why would Oda put this in the story? I think this is symbolism. Is Oda using Laboon and Nola to hint that Laugh-Tale is located inside of something, not like a traditional island where, you know, there's air and trees everywhere? I think this is Oda making hints very subtly. Now, if Laugh-Tale was located in the center of the earth, we need to explain, how does that work? How do you get to it? How do you leave it? How does that work? Are there BS ideas I'm going to give you throughout this video? No, I think that Oda has already shown us and already foreshadowed how that's going to work. Again, these ideas come from the pre-time skip of One Piece. We see Knockup Stream shoot someone straight up into the air, even as high as the Sky Island, and we also see islands towards the bottom of the ocean where Luffy and Koa had to sink down. I believe that's the process. Now, maybe in the new world, there's going to be a Knockup Stream that's like permanently running, and when you go to it at the right time, it'll sink you down, kind of like the Fishman Island process. You spend however long there at Laugh-Tale and you get shot back up. That would be like the process foreshadowed throughout One Piece already. Now we're going to take a quick look at Fishman Island because there's a cool detail that I think is relevant to this theory. When you look at Fishman Island, there's a passageway that leads to Ryugu Palace in Fishman Island. island. I think this is Oda's way of hinting, hey, like these bubbles for Fishman Island, this is like the One Piece planet. There's going to be a passageway that allows you to enter Laugh Tale, or the core of the earth. Now, the first thing that probably came to your mind is Enies Lobby. There's a gaping hole underneath the island. Is this how you would get to the core of the earth? Is this how you would get into Laugh Tale? My answer is no. I don't think Luffy and Ko are gonna have to go into the hole of Enies Lobby for several reasons. The first reason is that Luffy said the next time he crosses the red line, aka Reverse Mountain, he will be the Pirate King. That statement would be false on several occasions if he had to go into Enies Lobby to do that. That statement wouldn't be true. It's kind of self-explanatory. The second reason is when Roger went to Lodestar, his log post was spinning like crazy. This is inferring that there's one more island in the New World that has not been found or explored. And if it's spinning like crazy, he can't tell the direction, but clearly it's implying that it's in the New World. If you have to go into Enies Lobby to get to that island, then it's not in the New World, is it? Seems a little off. The third reason is that Crocus said that Laugh Tale is at the end of the New World, at the end of the Grand Line. If it was actually entered through Enies Lobby, that would be halfway through the Grand Line, not at the end of the Grand Line. Again, this doesn't really add up. It doesn't really make sense. Why would we have to go back to Enies Lobby and not just be Pirate King from the New World? Now, there's actually a lot more reasons why I do not believe that Enies Lobby will be the passageway to Laugh Tale or the core of the earth, but this video is not about that. Laugh Tale is most likely going to be accessed through the New World. Now, I will give Enies Lobby its credit. I do believe that it is acting as foreshadowing, just not to the greatest extent. I don't really see people talking about this, but the hole in Enies Lobby actually reminds me of Kola's super deep borehole in real life. This is a location where scientists manually dug a hole trying to get as deep as possible. Maybe Enies Lobby is the world government's way of trying to get to the core of the earth, especially since recently Vegapunk talked about an ancient energy. Maybe they're trying to get to that. Maybe they know Laugh Tale's in the core of the earth. That's possible. Because don't forget, they can't really search the New World if they don't have the 3 coordinates to triangulate it anyways. So their response is like, let's dig a hole manually, let's try to go down there ourselves. So again, I believe that the hole in Enies Lobby is foreshadowing a hole in the New World. Now, the concept of Hollow Earth recurs in folklore and is a premise of subterranean fiction, a subgenre of adventure fiction. And adventure fiction is sometimes defined as romance fiction. By definition, One Piece is a romance fiction, a story of this legendary character going through legendary events that's definitely not realistic. You see Luffy go to heaven, aka Skypiea, hell, aka Impel Down, and even islands made of candy, aka Whole Cake Island. By definition, Luffy is the MC of a romance fiction, aka adventure fiction, which deals with the concept of Hollow Earth all the time. And I think that this is possibly relating to the famous book and movie Journey to the Center of the Earth, a classic science fiction novel by Jules Verne. So perhaps when Luffy said that he'll become Pirate King, aka go to Laugh Tale during Romance Dawn, this was the dawn of Luffy's romance adventure to the center of the earth. Now, one of the most famous depictions of Hollow Earth in our world is called Agartha. Now, Agartha is known as a legendary kingdom that's located in the Earth's core. Now, Agartha was famous and grandiose for many reasons, but one of the top reasons is because it was a land of advanced races. And this had me thinking, because One Piece has all types of races, but yet we haven't really had an earthbender. We have firebenders, aka Lunarians, waterbenders, aka fishmen, even electricity benders, aka minks, but we haven't had an earthbender. You could call that OP, but I don't think so. I think Oda can make it pretty limited, and I think Oda would have to go into that kind of frontier. I think at some point Oda will play around with earthbenders, and that's going to be because of Laugh Tale or the Ancient Kingdom. And come to think of it, Big Mom was complaining how she didn't have every race. Perhaps the one she's missing is an earthbender. Now, one of the most famous races that come from Agartha or the center of the earth are dwarves, and Oda has already explored the idea of dwarves in One Piece, known as Tontada. They're pretty much the same thing. Tontada are dwarves. And funnily enough, you can buy these dwarves, aka Tontada, through the underworld of One Piece. Now, I do believe this is kind of like a metaphorical standpoint that Oda's playing around with, but he's going to go deeper than that, saying that dwarves come from the center of the earth. Perhaps all the races in One Piece came from the Ancient Kingdom, or they all came from the core of the earth, much like Agartha. And Tontada aren't the only dwarves either, because when you think about NL's cover story, how he went to the moon, poor anime watchers, he went into an underground city that had a whole bunch of dwarves as well. Again, I think this is Oda's idea of playing around with an underground city that is located at the core of the earth. Luffy goes to all these grand, crazy, imaginative places all the time. Like, One Piece explores land, sea, and air, but they've never explored like a subterranean location. I guess the closest depiction would be Impel Down, because it's based on hell, which is subterranean, and you have Impel Down with multiple levels of hell, but I don't think that that'll be enough. I believe they're gonna have to go underground at some point, and what perfect time than Laugh Tale. Now the whole talk about the core of the earth always makes me think about North Pole, South Pole. Has that been explored in One Piece? Yes, Shanks and Buggy. Now you could argue that its surface level is just painting them as rivals, like they're opposites in a way, which I'm fine with. It does make a lot of sense. I think that's Oda's direction. But if we look at it in retrospect, if Laugh Tale was located in the center of the earth, I do find it kind of cool that these two kids that were on the Pirate King ship argued about North Pole, South Pole, yet they're not thinking about the center of the earth where Laugh Tale is at. Could be reaching, could be probable, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hell, maybe even Enies lobbies like North Pole or South Pole, and then the other poles connecting towards the end of the New World, boom, in the center of them, the core of the earth, Laugh Tale. Now I also want to talk about religions because Oda gets a lot of inspiration from them all the time. You have the Adam and Eve tree from Christianity, you have the ancient weapons based on Greek mythology, and you even have Luffy based on Hanuman, the Hindu monkey god. Now many religions do come together telling stories of men who encounter a mountain and make their way to the hollow earth. Maybe Oda's going to explore this concept through the Red Line. The Red Line is a massive mountain going around the globe. Perhaps the entrance to Laugh Tale or the core of the earth is at Reverse Mountain. For one example, according to ancient Greeks, there were caverns under the earth's surface which were entrances leading to an underworld. Or in Celtic mythology, there is a legend of a cave called Kurachan that leads to the Iron Gates of Hell. Or in Hindu mythology, the underworld is referred to as Patala. Now the funny thing about the Hinduism one is we know that Luffy's based on Hindu monkey god Hanuman, and in Hinduism it is said that Hanuman rescued Rama and Lakshman through the work at these underground mountains. Now again, there's so many religions in real life that all have stories of men going to the core of the earth, but let's refocus on Agartha again. The city of Shambhala is near something called Central Sun. Maybe this is Oda's way of saying Nika is from the ancient kingdom or Laugh Tale, Joy Boy's from them, they're one and the same. I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Another fun fact is the elders of the Hopi people believe that a Sapapu entrance in the Grand Canyon exists which leads to the underworld. Now perhaps Oda's basing the Red Line off the Grand Canyon. Could be true, they're both red, they're both big mountains, and perhaps there's an entrance from Reverse Mountain, which would be part of the Red Line that leads into Laugh Tale. Now, are there any more clues hidden in plain sight when it comes to this whole Hollow Earth theory? I think there is. When I was researching about this Hollow Earth theory, a lot of pictures came up that remind me of the ring eyes in One Piece. Now, you guys have probably seen my tweets and my Discord and my Twitter. I kind of shit on the ring eyes theory in One Piece all the time because there's so many characters that have the ring eyes that I didn't even add to this photo. I don't think there's any common denominators between any of these characters, so I think the whole concept of the ring eyes in One Piece doesn't have to do with the characters individually. And I'm thinking, what could it mean more? Like, what would be the point of having all these characters have this other than just design? I think this could be a way of symbolism. This could be a way of Hollow Earth. Like, look at them side by side. It's kind of uncanny how similar they look. Maybe Oda throughout the story is like hiding this in plain sight from the ring eyes and the regular eyes of One Piece, and he's again hiding it in plain sight, kind of taunting us like, man, they don't even know, like, I'm giving imagery, I'm giving symbolism to Hollow Earth with characters' eyes. Like, clearly Oda has a lot of emphasis. Oda cares a lot about eyes in the story. Think about how many characters that have scars by their eye. Or think about how the Eye of Shandora was so important. There was a legendary city inside of the Eye of Jaya. And Oda even went as far as to add like the city / great location in the center of the eye. So again, maybe Oda's using ring eyes or regular eyes in One Piece to hint that Luffy lives in a hollow earth. They look too similar. I believe Oda definitely knows of this concept. Now, is there any kind of message Oda's trying to get across? Is there any kind of symbolism? Well, seeing how this is a pirate manga, you gotta think about treasure chests, a pretty basic idea. Maybe Oda's treating the planet of One Piece like a treasure chest. You know, everything outside of the treasure chest, that's the whole world of One Piece, that's the whole world in general, but the real treasure lies inside of the treasure chest, inside of the world, inside of the core. Now, when you say the phrase, the best treasure in the world, you think about how it's located in the world, in the core, inside the planet. And again, I think this is Oda's way of hiding things in plain sight when they have characters mentioning, yeah, the One Piece is the best treasure, the greatest treasure in the world. So the next time you have a conversation about Laugh Tale, think about how it's going to be located in the center of the planet. Centerpiece.